Actually, welcome to Entering the Darkness podcast. This is Colin, and of course, we have our guest here today, the legendary Loubelle, from, of course, as you know, Descant Gott, as you know, Devada, all these different bands out there. If you've ever been to the Philippines and you've actually been to any of these gigs and you've seen these guys, this girl, seriously, I mean, dude, whoa, crazy, crazy, crazy. Also, our co-host right here. You introduce yourself, bud?
Hey, I'm Dan Daly. I'm the co-host of Entering the Darkness with Colin Downer, one of the best bass players, legendary, with Loubelle today from Descant Gott, and we're excited to have her. So thank you for joining us, Loubelle.
Thank you.
Right. So, of course, as we get started here, I guess that we want to kind of get a little bit of a better idea of all these things here. So, Loubelle, what got you into the actual metal scene? Like, what got you into Descant God? What was the whole premise of you getting into heavy metal music and all this other stuff in general, and keeping it going all these years?
Gosh, it's like it started with an accident. Like I didn't really plan out to be, in a band. It started when I met my high school friends way back, like super long years ago. I was just supposed to do a in their band, and one of their friends just dared me to try out the growls because they already had the vocalist, and just like what I said earlier, the initial plan was I was just going to do chants, like a poetic thing, like from Cradle of Filth, the girls just chanting at the background. That was the initial plan, and then when I tried it out, I got it the first time, and they said like, hey, you can also be in a band. So I got interested with it. It wasn't strange to me, and then I don't know, like even a few years after, I just enjoy doing it.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, like having seen you live numerous times, you can tell. You can actually very tell. You can tell that you're like up there. Like it's almost like seriously. I don't know if you notice it ever when you're up online, when you're up on the stage there. But like there's a certain look in your eyes. It's like scary as hell. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm gonna stay back. I'm gonna stay back for a little bit. I'm thinking, dude, it looks like you're possessed or something. Sometimes I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome.
You have a signature sound that I haven't heard in a long time, and it is you have this very sweet face and look and voice, and to hear that voice come out on the recordings and the live footage, that is something that is wow. Where did that come from? That aggression, that's something else, Loubelle. Would you like to explain where that came from?
I really don't know where that came from. I think it's just innate.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Or I guess actually I'm a really calm person, and then maybe that's my outlet for the other side of me.
Right.
Okay.
All right. That works. That's definitely one of the things for you there. So I mean, it's kind of like I've noticed there have been a few lineup changes with Descant God. I mean, do you guys still have the same members, like the same original members, or has it like changed like
Yeah,
like drastically over the years?
it changed drastically over the years because each one of us have our different priorities, and we're just lucky enough that other people are able to step in so that we can continue the band.
There you go. Good, good, good. Yeah, because it's like, as I remember, I know Jay was there for a long time. I remember he was on guitar for a long, long time. That was the lineup that I knew. You, like Marco, Jay, all those guys, and I was just like, and then I've kind of kept up with you guys for a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, I'm like some of the, I don't recognize some of these dudes. I know Loubelle, but I don't recognize these guys. You know what I mean? I don't recognize any of them, but it's all. But like, when it comes to metal and everything like that, so like what are your biggest influences on all of this? I mean, it's like, because obviously obviously we can tell with the way that you sing, but then I mean, like, is there anything else that's like that, like, I mean, is your taste even way different than what you actually play, or?
Do you
Actually,
listen to Lady Gaga, or is it Cannibal Corpse all the time?
actually, it's a mix. I love music in general, but it just so happens that I lean towards to metal music more. Yeah, I listen to different kinds of music because honestly, way back, I always had this goal of being unique. So I try to listen to everything, and then whatever sticks to me, that's how I get to be influenced by it, or I try to make it my own. So
There you
I
go.
sometimes I just um do it like how do I say it, like just through feelings and emotions or whatever I think about at that
Hmm.
moment. So it's purely original most
There
of
you
the
go.
time.
Awesome.
I,
Awesome.
I really get that answer because me personally, if I'm going to play something heavy and I know the style of music that I'm into, we're into, uh, call me crazy, but I'll listen to Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
I will have my cup of coffee in the morning and listen to something completely different than what my brain and fingers and voice are going to be locked into. It'll be Justin Timberlake, Bruno Mars,
You
and then
know,
I go back and pick up the instrument and start recording. Some real heavy stuff comes out.
to piggyback off of what Dan just said there too, that's like you would never think, because having been in bands like Soul Incinerator and Basilisk and all that stuff, like all that stuff, you would never think that I would actually be like into BTS and Blackpink. Yeah, but it's like the strangest thing is that when I first heard Blackpink, I was like, "Holy crap, this stuff is actually pretty good." And then I'm actually incorporating some of that too in the music that I play, and it comes up with like some of the craziest, heaviest stuff. I'm like, "Whoa, I never thought that would happen." you know? But yeah, it's just like that too. So I mean, I can see where the diversity comes here and that, like where that kind of like being eclectic in that sense comes from. But one thing that's always kind of like that I always wondered too was like, what do your parents think about this? You being in these metal bands and waving your hair all over the place and stuff like that, and being the aggressive vocals and everything like that.
So you know what's funny? My mom used to tell me like when she was pregnant, um, she actually was listening to classical music, so that was her preference. And then she was like, "How were you able to go into metal music?" I was like, "Mom, actually, metal music is also has its roots with classical music. It just turns out to be more heavy."
There
So
you go.
I guess
Now,
that still makes sense.
Loubelle, I I have a question. Being a musician in the Filipino scene, let alone being a female, was there any barriers that you felt like you had to overcome to prove yourself, to prove your worth, existence, being a part of something? Was there anything as a female that you felt that was something you had to overcome that could be inspiring to other females that are looking to do what you do or become a musician in this type of extreme music scene in itself?
Oh, you know what? I didn't really think about it like it should be a female or a male thing. It's more of just being yourself and putting out there what kind of music you want to share with people. Just being myself, actually.
Hmm.
And that's what it's
There you
all
go.
about, really.
Hmm.
And we have our own capabilities, each one of us. So you can't really say if it's male or female. Just do what you can and do your best.
Hmm.
That's
There you
great.
go.
That's a good message for people that are listening to really grasp and hear is that it doesn't matter your gender, your sexual orientation, your ethnicity. This is an extreme music and put yourself out there and do the best. And if it's good, people are going to love it. And
Hmm.
if
Mhm.
it's genuine, people are going to like it.
Of course, we'll always find that. And with it currently right now, obviously, because I say I see that you guys do shows, here and around. I mean, has the scene changed in the last like 10, 15 years, 10 years even, since like maybe even 2010, 2012 at all?
Well, I guess you can see more females in the
Hmm.
scene. um, Like
Nice.
we're breaking the barrier of just being the stereotyped groupie or
Hmm.
just around. You can see more females now um, doing band stuff. So it's a good evolution for everyone. And I guess because of the internet and how the social media works right now, we get a more uh, picture of the metal scene. It's not limited to just one genre. You'll
There you
you'll
go.
be you'll get to see okay, there's another subgenre of metal. So there's a lot of categories. So
Mhm.
it's not when you say extreme metal, it's not just purely growls or purely noise as what they would think. It's really a vast thing to explore.
Mhm. Right on. Right on. So, but yeah, so that's also, do you ever actually get into the pit when people are playing like have you ever participated like in the actual audience?
It depends on the crowd.
Depends on the crowd. There you go.
Sometimes you can see if the people are just having fun, and if you send some people over there that has different intentions, of course you have to you have to move back. So you really have to get to know the people also who are there.
Of course.
So
Of
it's a mix.
course. Yeah.
But of course,
Generally.
the pit.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Loubelle, I would like to ask you, when you were growing up as a child, I know you mentioned classical music is what you said your mother listened to. When you became of age and started listening to music and understanding music, and you got to the heavier side, could you give me your top 5 bands that influenced you towards this style or anything that might have been heavy?
It's really a mix. I actually started with a couple of new metal bands because with my circle before in the private school, you don't really get to listen to underground music. So I had to start with the mainstream bands and also some classical. For me, it would be Kid Rock. And then I would also listen to, Sarah Brightman, and then a couple of Cradle of Filth, Arch Enemy, Megadeth, Creator. There's really a lot. Really versatile. And then, of course, I'll go back to like a couple of Mozarts, Nightwish, Within Temptation. So it's a hybrid thing.
Now, your name, Loubelle, I feel like that has something to do with the classical musical genre. That name, Loubelle, just sounds something out of like a classical song. What is the meaning behind your name?
Oh, I guess the bell has the French meaning beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing classical and stuff, and I'm like, your name is very unique. I'm like, I wonder if it has something to do with classical music or something.
Just sounds.
Well, you have a beautiful voice, is what I'm taking it as. Ah.
Thank you.
But with that though, oh my gosh, what was I gonna say? Hold on. Oh yeah, I have a Within Temptation story for you actually. So I actually had the pleasure of seeing them back in, was it 07, 08, something like that. St. Andrews Hall, Detroit. Like, this is one of the smallest venues you'll ever see. It's like an old church, but it's really cool. Like, if you ever saw 8 Mile when Eminem was talking about the shelter, that's the basement of St. Andrews Hall. So that's where that place is. And Within Temptation, right? They come out there and they put on like this big arena style show in this tiny venue, right? So me and my friend was waiting outside. We're kind of like, there's no way in hell the band's going to come out here and actually talk to us. And then, and their bus is parked in front of the building. Sure enough, out comes Sharon, just carrying a couple bags, just all by herself. And I walked up and I'm just kind of like, wait a minute. I'm like, do you think she'll even talk to us? And then walked up, asked for a picture. We're both standing there like this for a second. She talked with us for like a good 10 minutes. They were all really cool people. Every single one of them. It was really like, that was very surreal getting to see like Within Temptation do like a stadium style show in a freaking small venue of like maybe 1,000 people. That was so cool, getting to see that. I mean, with that, to roll into the next question on that, have you guys played any like really, really huge like shows like where there's like maybe 1,000, 2,000 people, anything like that?
It was in the Music Laban.
Oh,
Right. And yeah, we reached the finals. And I think that's the biggest crowd that we've ever played in front of.
there you go. Right on. You guys didn't try to do the Vakken thing or anything like that? The Battle for Vakken?
No, we haven't yet. We're thinking about it, but we're not sure yet.
Right on. I
Don't
think you
think,
guys-
just do, because you guys are very worthy of it.
Definitely. Both bands actually that I've seen you do part of. I don't. The other band I'm not like. I've heard a couple things. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the other one, but it was like Descant Gott, and then it's like X, like Xeno or something.
Devout.
Got it. Okay, because I've seen like because I've seen those videos and I was just like, I was like, oh my god! I'm like, this is really good too. This is like, I'm like, what the? Oh, I'm like, just that sound, just the heaviness in that too. I was like, my god. And then I figured, try to do the same thing you do when you're singing, just push the air harder,
Yeah.
which is what I used in Basilisk, and it worked. You know what I mean? And it was just lightheaded as hell after that. But so like the tower sessions or something like that videos, and I was kind of like, oh my god, I'm like, there's that look. She looks angry. She looks angry. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna back away, man. Oh my god, this is crazy. But it's like, but it was really cool. Like the whole, like just the sound of it was like so heavy. I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my god, dude, how in the heck, how in the heck did this even come out, And it was really cool. I must say praise for that. That's awesome. That was awesome. You know what I mean? I mean, do you at all throughout your week, throughout your normal week and everything like that? I mean, do you ever even think about the band, or is it just only when you guys are like doing practices, rehearsals, anything like that? Or is it?
Yeah, because here in the Philippines, I think we still need to consider our daily lives.
Of course.
We still do the Monday to Friday thing, and probably during the weekend, yeah, that's our time for doing the extracurriculars.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, time and time again, the band is inside our minds. Like for example, during the pandemic years, everyone was inactive, and we still try to make it a point, to do music. Even if we don't meet in person, we try to make things possible.
Okay.
And we
I
still
think
continue.
that's the pandemic. God, I hate talking about those times, but I think the pandemic really made people take a look at what they took for granted. And when you can't have that human connection, it's the want to have whatever it is that you're missing in your life. So definitely I can see music being a huge thing. It's like, all right, even if we can't meet together, let's try to do something the best we can. And I've been hearing that from a lot of musicians nowadays, where I agree with Loubelle. It's like we all work our jobs and have a life Monday through Friday, but on the weekend we try to do our music. But I definitely think since the pandemic, not even just music, but other little things in life that you might have took for granted, is that you try to put some percentage in on a daily life basis into those things.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would please. I mean, do any of the people that you work with even know that you do this at all, or if they do find out, like, what would their reaction be, or what was their reaction if they knew?
I'm really quiet in person.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't expect it. So it's like a
That's
day and night thing, but.
Yeah, that's actually what I told Dan right beforehand. I said, dude, dude, to actually look at her outside of the actual band, to like actually talk to her, you would never ever think it unless you knew, unless you knew. And I told you, man, unless you knew, you know what I mean?
I marked myself up with tattoos, so I make it at every job I've ever been at. I make it probably a couple weeks because I always make it a point to cover up my tattoos. And as soon as somebody sees a tattoo, they're like, he's a rocker. So somebody will say, hey, what type of music you listen to? And they're like, oh, do you play anything? Yeah, I play guitar, kazoo, and electric triangle. Oh, okay. And then I get 100 questions, but yeah, it's funny when people find out that you do something in the music that's like it blows their mind. It's fun always when you work with people that are also musicians, and it's like, wow, I found you. You're weird just like me.
Yeah.
Same kind
I
of
agree with
stuff.
that.
I mean, have your parents ever come to any of your shows, or any of your parents or any of your family members?
My dad, he
No, he
went,
did.
yeah, but only just to one show. Because they're not really into metal music. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
did watch. He was able to watch when he was alive.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Did you say that when he was alive?
Yeah.
Oh, well, sorry to hear about that. Condolences to tell that, for sure. I'm sure he's really, really happy that you're doing things that you do love. For sure. That's really awesome. And I mean, of course, metal is one of those things that keeps. I think in that kind of sense would probably keep you more sane. To kind of deal with that loss, so to speak.
What I love about metal music, when you're going through something, it gives you this certain strength to be resilient in life. So I guess that's why I like the genre.
All right. Good, good.
All right, I got some rapid fire questions I want to ask each of you. I want answers to them. We'll start with Loubelle first, and then Colin, you'll answer afterwards.
Of course.
All right, Loubelle. Metallica or Megadeth, and why?
Megadeth. Because I find myself, digging their music more. Although Metallica is also, good, but somehow with the riffs that Megadeth does, I'm leaning towards their style.
Oh. To piggyback off of Loubelle there, yeah, actually, I would say Megadeth. I mean, of course, obviously, Metallica has some of the faster riffs, but like the heavier stuff. But Megadeth, I mean, you can't beat Marty Friedman, you can't beat Chris Broderick, you can't beat, like pretty much most of the guitar. Chris Broderick, even if I mentioned that, you can't beat any of those guys. Chris Poland, even if they had too, like the jazz guitar player, you can't beat Gar Samuelson, who was their original drummer, was a jazz drummer. I mean, come on, dude. David Ellefson as their bass player for all those years. I mean, they've had like these classic all-star lineups, you know what I mean? And there's this like for some strange reason, to me, it's always been like everybody was so much better in that sense. Although, to point out, the Kirk Hammett is part Filipino, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I hope James Hetfield in Metallica King doesn't sue us like Napster, but I'm Megadeth. All right, now next one, and I got one more after this. Genres: new metal or black metal?
Oh. I like the melody of black metal more. I mean, how they compose music. I also like new metal in the sense that it's groovy and, really gets you to move. It's hard.
I know.
But I like black metal in the sense of its heaviness, but the lyrics not so much. Do you get what I mean?
The melodicness, the symphonic sound, the melodies.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Dan. I mean, don't you think it's an obvious answer? You would know.
Well, I'm not going to speculate. I don't judge.
Yeah, of course, it's like, I mean, for me, it's always been black metal. That was why Basilisk was so important too at the time, because it was like that was the first time that it ever actually got to do a black metal project. So it's always been that way for me too. But I don't sing about like the Satan things or anything like that. It's always just more like winter and metaphorical kind of things like that. Just kind of like double meaning lyrics. So that was made.
For me, I'd say this is probably one of the hardest questions I could answer, because I drive my child to school in the morning listening to Behemoth. And, breakfast is the best start to the day, so I start with Behemoth and my child getting to middle school. But at the same point in time, new metal to me, when I heard Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, Seven Dust, and Power Man 5000, and all these great bands, I will have to say new metal. I'm sorry.
Although I will have to point out that Power Man 5000, who I saw back in '97. Yes, I just aged myself. But it was like I saw Power Man way back before they became huge, and then saw Primus on that same token, and Limp Bizkit too before they became huge. So that was really that was a lot of fun getting to see that.
Cool fact about Power Man 5000: the front man is Rob Zombie's little brother. If you guys did not know that, the lead singer of Power Man 5000 is Rob Zombie of White Zombie. That is his little brother.
Yep, Spider. Yep, as he goes by Spider.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last one.
Okay.
And I promise this is the last one. Genres again: grunge, rock, or 80s hair metal.
80s rock metal, because I don't know, I'm really driven to their it's fun to listen to, in 80s, fun, and at the same time it's unique during their time, being alternative, and I like the the wave, new wave stuff, and the glam rock. So yeah, I think it's leaning to 80s, 80s rock.
I think I'd have to go with maybe grunge at my end. The only reason for that is because I was like really big into Candlebox and really big into like the early Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, all kinds of stuff like that. So, and of course Nirvana too, but it wasn't like so much as into Nirvana as as anybody else may have been. But it was kind of that, and then Silverchair, of course, at the very ass end of it, and Bush, that too.
This is one just like the black metal for me. I grew up with grunge. I always say Chris Cornell is the voice of rock and roll. When he passed away, it broke my heart.
In Detroit, of all places.
Yeah, at the MGM. Stone Temple Pilots, also some of the alternative that could be considered grunge would be Sunny Day Real Estate, Mother Love Bone, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, the list goes on. But at the same point in time, the 80s hair glam scene had so much good music to offer. I mean, we're talking Wasp, which is criminally overlooked, Rat. Everybody says Motley Crue, but LA Guns.
Ooh.
Guns N' Roses were at the tail end of that. Lynch Mob with George Lynch. For me, it would be 80s glam, and I hate to say that, but 80s glam. I mean, when you look at the guitar players, I mean, we had Edward Van Halen, George Lynch, Warren DeMartini of Rat, Randy Rhoads, if you could consider glam, early 80s Ozzy, he was a part of that scene. Rock and roll, but glam. I mean, 80s, I'm sorry.
No, legit.
I feel like you're disappointed.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, man. Actually, though, to talk about like the 80s and stuff.
Robin Crosby, also, not to cut you off, God rest his soul, the other guitar player from Rat, Robin King Crosby.
Okay. Well, of course, you remember Bang Tango, don't you? Faster Pussycat. You know that.
Look at their Toto.
Yeah, but that a band that I was in 2006 out in San Diego called Rise to Mourn, freaking awesome band. We opened up for Bang Tango, Faster Pussycat, and of course Adler's Appetite. The original drummer, not Matt Sorum, the original drummer, Steven Adler, yes, of Guns N' Roses. Although we played many hours before they did. However, I can still say I got to open for freaking Bang Tango and Faster Pussycat and Adler's Appetite. Beat that
Faster Pussycat. I've seen
motherfuckers.
I've seen live, and then Enough's Enough. I've also seen them too.
Oh, like Chip Zenoff, yeah, those guys. And oh my gosh! And do you remember the Rat commercial from a few years ago, from the Geico commercial, where a rat? The guy said they had a rat problem, and he's like, they're singing the song in the basement. Yeah, that's all good. Sorry to see going off on a little bit of tangents here. We got Loubelle sitting over here falling asleep, like. Yeah, but it's all right. But yeah, so there's just so many different types of genres out there and everything like that. I mean, I guess you can say, like, I guess the way to say this is, I don't necessarily say guilty pleasures, but for you, what would be your guilty pleasure? Both of you guys.
You go ahead, Loubelle. You take this one.
I'm just thinking about it right now. It's just a short time, because right now the popular Kpop scene in the Philippines.
Like Beanie?
Yeah, actually I appreciate them. I'm not a super fan, but I appreciate what they do.
They're not too bad, actually.
They're something catchy, actually.
Yeah, they're not really that bad, to be honest. How about you, Dan?
Oh, God. I have a bunch of guilty pleasures. God rest my soul. I love Lady Gaga. Fame Monster is one of my all-time favorite albums. And I listen to it religiously. I listen to Fame Monster by Lady Gaga at least twice a week. Austin Justin Timberlake. I love Justin Timberlake. Anything with big melodies, I don't care what style of music it is. If I can snap my finger to it, if I can hum to it, if I can strum a chord to it and bop my head to it, I'm all about big melodies. So definitely a lot of pop music, but Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. I love me some Lady Gaga. Justin Timberlake, and I listen to the song Umbrella by Rihanna at least 3 times a day. There's no shame in my game. I might look bearded and homeless, but if you can't get under my umbrella,
oh God,
3 times a day and make it through life, I can't help you. But I love that song. Anything.
Well, as I've of course admitted earlier, you know, guilty pleasures, BTS, Blackpink, you know, things like that. Particularly Blackpink. I think what really got me was the song that they have called Boombayah, which was actually like, there's a part they're actually doing like these freaking like windmill headbangs in the middle of it. Yeah,
I've never heard of this group. Is it a group?
It's a group. It's a K-pop group.
Okay, from Korea.
Yes, of course. Yep. But like 2 of the members are from like Australia, and then like one's actually from Thailand. But it was like when I heard that song though, I was like, dude, they're actually doing freaking windmills. What the hell are they doing? This is so crazy. I'm like, this is so crazy.
The little bit that I do know about K-pop is that these people are like, if you're in a rock band here in America and you become rock star status, you're globally known. But these people that are in K-pop, they're like internationally known. Like they know about them on other planets in the universe. That's how much bigger it is than anything that we're doing, rock and roll or heavy metal or rap and hip hop. These people are on just like a whole new level.
Well, with us being rock musicians, I mean, we're the unwanted child that's locked in the basement with no food.
We're passing out the flyers to the K-pop concerts.
Pretty much. That's always that, you know. I've always thought of it that way too. We're always that kid that's like banging on the door. Let me out, man. I'm hungry. Come on, you know. And everyone's like, no.
Let us know we're hungry. We'll pass out the K-pop flyers. It's a really big thing. I had a couple friends that were stationed over in South Korea in the military, and they said that these K-pop bands are promoted over there like it's like a presidential candidate coming to your city.
Yeah, they're really big.
Yeah,
definitely. You know, and that's always been that's always yeah. And I know here too that it's always been when you especially have a group like BTS. When they come all the way out here, my God, dude, the places are like every single show they have is sold out. It's so weird. And then, but then of course, the same thing goes now with Metallica too. But
Loubelle, I have a question, because whether or not you want to believe it, we all know it. Descant Gott has reached all over the world with the music. If you could give any words of encouragement or helpful advice for people that are all over the world in many different countries about how to get into extreme music and how to get your stuff out there, because you've got a pretty big platform. Whether or not you want to believe it, you guys are well known.
I'm not sure about being really well known, but I'm grateful for whatever happens or whatever is happening for my band. So I guess my advice would be, you know, just keep on doing. Do it with passion, whatever it is, you know, when it comes to art, music, whatever. And just try to keep in mind, you know, to be resilient, because a lot of challenges are going to be thrown at you, you know, throughout the years. It's not easy. So, you know, just continue to thrive what you do, as long as you know your intentions, you know, just keep on going and believe in what you do.
There you go. Well, actually, I do have a quick question about all this too, because the album that you guys have up on YouTube, my God, it's freaking amazing. By the way, but you know, I was listening to it. I was listening to it on my way home from work yesterday, and listening to it today, and I was like, God, this is heavy. Anyway, what is it? Coalition of Terrorists. What is that song about? That's a freaking awesome song.
That's Jay's song.
Oh, that's Jay's song.
Yeah, I think it's about um, collecting all people having that goal of fighting together.
Hmm.
Fighting for what they believe in. It's like a war song.
Okay. And then to roll into that with "Justice Denied," yeah, that's like probably one of your most favorite songs, one of your most like popular songs. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, what was how did that come about? Like, how did the concept for that come out? Did you write the lyrics? Did you guys all like collaborate on this together, or?
For Justice Denied, it was actually Georgie who wrote the lyrics,
Mhm.
and then for the melody, it was Jay and Chris. Yeah, I think he was coming from a point of view of when you feel something that has been taken against you, or you feel the injustice. So it's again another fight song. Trying to be strong and um yeah, fighting for what you believe in.
Right on, right on. Because I know that song when after seeing you guys live playing that a couple of times, it seems like the pit goes hard with that. People go really, really hard with that song. I've noticed. It's like, whoa, okay, that's that. I'm like they really, really delivered that.
I guess a lot of people are feeling some sort of injustice in their lives, and so that's why they relate to it very much.
It is, yeah, that's one of those deals.
I think that's a song, lyrically wise, listening to. Everybody has some sort of injustice. It doesn't matter what it is going on. It's human nature to have some sort of injustice. Doesn't matter what the injustice is. It's, again, human nature that we go through is some injustice. So it's something to leech onto and make your fight song. It's a really great song.
It is, and when you guys actually went through that recording process, I mean, was it really, really tough for you guys, or I mean, did you guys do it all in the studio, like together or individually, or?
Yeah, because you know what? Since it's been a long time already, it's a blur. But for some reason, you don't know how you were able to do it. So I guess we did it back. We did it manually back then. No internet that much. No, passing of files. So it was more of they recorded on their own using the cassette recorder, I think, and then they lend you the tape, then you listen to it, and then you write the lyrics manually. It's the manual version about doing the
Now,
songs.
Loubelle, that brings me to my next question, because I could sense some discontent there. Nowadays, with recording music, do you prefer the accessibility and reliability of being able to send files and go back and forth, or do you prefer to be in the group setting in a studio with that intimate connection with your bandmates recording your art?
Yeah, I
Which do
prefer
you
the group
prefer?
set because you can feel the vibe right at that very moment. Um, it's more emotional, or I mean, you get the actual feeling of what's being done over there. When it comes to passing press, because I just think of it this way. We're artists, so we just make most of what's given to us. I mean, you can just go something, like just being creative about it, and that's where the magic comes. Like even if it came from different ideas, and then when you have that, it's just something in you that magically comes out. If you-
I definitely get that, because I've written and recorded music with people recently, and a lot of people are hip to just send me your guitar riffs, your ideas, and it was almost like I was talking from a caveman aspect when I said, let's get in a room and
Actually get in a room,
and have that human connection and be able to bounce artistic ideas. And people were like, but I got Pro Tools and I can record it and send it to you. That's not the same energy as somebody like Colin back in the day looking over at me and saying, hey, dickhead, your low E is out of tune.
And hey, it was. It was like buzzing in my ear. It was pissing me off. I'm like, dude.
But somebody like Colin that we spent many years writing and recording. It was just having that energy. It's instant. I don't have to wait for an email, text message. It's go with that or go with that. Oh, that's it.
Yep. It was one of those deals like you just start fucking around. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Remember, like we'd be jamming at like 1:30 in the morning. Had no idea that my mom was upstairs listening, and would get upset when we would stop jamming, right? And then she was like, but she's like, I remember like you were fucking around with some sort of a thing. You were actually just warming up, and I'm just kind of like trying to mess with something. I look over and I'm like, dude, riff again, do it again, let's do it again.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wait for an email for that. And I feel like with the digital stuff, in my personal opinion, I think it's cool. I think it's given a lot of people that might not have the resources, a platform to get their artistic views and sounds out there. But I also feel like if it's solely focused upon, is that you're going to lose that human element of connection, and that's what music is about, is bringing people together in whether it's recording a live show, just the atmosphere of being together is going to completely be lost.
Well, that's what we did when I was in high school, dude. Like probably the original actual legit band that, like the first actual real band that I'd been in was Metabolysis, and when we it was like we started out as new metal, then ended up as a hardcore band, which was interesting. But to record stuff, I found, I don't even know how I found this, but I found like this 4-track tape recorder in my garage, and what we would do is we would just put a microphone in, hang it in the middle of the room, and record it that way. The demo sounded like shit, but it was awesome. You know, that was the way for us to record it and get our shit out to people. You know, I mean it's old school, but I mean it worked really, really well. You just put that in there, you can get everybody, you can get the vocalist, you can get everybody in there. The guitars, the bass, even though I was louder than everybody apparently. But it was, yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, it's like I've been noticing a lot of the bars that we used to all play at, even when I was out there, would, you know, are all closing down. I mean, are there even any venues left for the bands to play at, Loubelle?
Yeah, there's only a few bars left. I don't know why. Because, well, I guess it's our music, because it's a very niche, I guess. So not really everyone can relate to it. Just a number of people. But, you know, they're just out there somewhere. You just need to find them.
Usually.
Would this be a precursor as to maybe why Pulp SummerSlam is not going to happen like it used to anymore?
Could be. Because K-pop is really the big percentage of, you know, music here.
Oh, I'm seeing that. Yeah, there's. Oh yeah, I was even back when I was still there. You guys, or they were like living out there. It was people were just having like K-pop things, and it was just like anybody that I would meet or coworkers that I would have were all talking about K-pop stuff, and I'm kind of like, well, what's that? You know, where I was like totally ignorant. I'm like, what's all that? And then I listened to it. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. You know, I mean, I get it now.
Really, next year, I think Ginger and Kitty might be coming.
Ooh, Kitty. There you go.
Yeah.
And Ginger, they're from Ukraine.
Ukraine, yes.
The singer of Ginger, I forget her name. I believe she is
Tatiana.
Yeah, Tatiana. I believe she is engaged to the ex-drummer of Suicide Silence, Alex Garza, or
You mean Chris Garza?
yes.
Chris Garza is the guitar player. He has a podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep. He's she's with Chris. Didn't know that. That's interesting.
Somebody from the band. I could have swore it was him. Don't quote me. I don't want to get sued before we put this episode out.
Yeah, that's true. Chris Garza will be always telling us like, "Hey, no, that's wrong. That's wrong."
I
I'm sorry.
got to see Ginger many years ago live. They are such a great band.
Yeah.
And Tatiana, she is a force to be reckoned with. Much like Loubelle here.
They are freaking unpredictable, man. When you listen to a Ginger, they are just so freaking unpredictable. It's like, you know, it'll start out kind of nice and sweet, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm like, whoa, okay. Did not see that coming. You know what I mean? It was like, I remember the first time I heard that. So it's just kind of, but I mean, with you, Loubelle, though, I mean, have you ever thought about like maybe for future songs, like trying to like do like more black metal kind of style vocals, or you know, like how that would work with any of your music?
Depends on my bandmates. But, yeah, probably. I don't know yet. But because currently we're also in the progress of writing new songs, and
Okay.
since we have new members, so we might incorporate new ideas. Like I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what
Right
happens.
on. Throw
Now,
a Danny Filth shriek.
now, what are the future plans for Descant Gott? Like, obviously, new music is coming down the pipeline, but if our audience wants to go and check you guys out besides YouTube, what are all your platforms and stuff that people can check you guys out on?
Oh, you can check us on our Facebook. Descant Gott.
No, and Megadeth, those other shows are always sold out too. But right on.
I encourage everybody to check out Descant Gott. There's something special, especially the sound, just everything in musicianship, and out of the Philippines, it puts a lot of my local bands here in the States to shame.
It really does.
So anybody on the international stage, wherever you're listening to, definitely give Descant Gott a chance and listen to it. I wouldn't even say give it a chance, because after a song you're going to be hooked if you're into this style of music. So definitely everybody give Descant Gott a listen and support, and spread the good word.
I actually sent out a couple of buddies the link to some of your guys' music on YouTube there, and my one friend, he's like literally sends me this like wow kind of like emoji, like what the hell. I'm like yeah, that's a girl, dude. They're like what the they're like no way. And then my one friend just sends me a big thing all the way across, brutal, and I'm like dude, brutal, man. And I'm like, and then one of my friends was like, dude, love this, it's on my list now. I'm like heck yeah, so it was kind of so that was kind of one of those things that was always I mean, I don't think you realize how the impact is, all over the world and everything like that. And of course, when this was a radio show before, I would play some of you guys' music on the radio show too, and people really actually reacted to it very well. You know what I mean? So you guys had been heard, during that time in like 2011, 2012, things like that. When I was doing the radio show, you guys had been heard like out in UK, in like Africa, all over Europe, things like that. There were so many listeners in this little chat thing, and there were people that were like, "Oh my God, who are these guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly." So, and that was why. Oh, that's kind of why we're doing this here. You know what I mean? It's like the bands that I respect, the musicians that I respect, like yourself and everybody else. The people that I happened to interact with when I was out there, or got the chance to see, got the chance to know a little bit, and and I always told Dan about how the Philippines was very, very important in terms of the music thing, and just in terms of my life too, to help me to become become a better musician even, and then telling him always, dude, you got to check out the Filipino scene. This is going to take over. Dude. I'm like, especially bands like Descant Gott, especially bands like that Thompson. Those guys are going to take everybody. These guys are going to take everybody by storm. There's nobody else better than these guys.
It's a very what Colin is saying is very legitimate, because I don't want to. I'm not going to say names and get canceled. But there is a lot of local bands around here, and everybody promotes, oh, they're this or that, and I give everybody a chance. I'm not that person. It's not my thing, I won't listen to it. But when Colin started, here's some Descant Gott, here's this, here's that, and I started listening to the stuff, I was like, man, when can I go to one of these shows? And he was like, you like it? You really like it? I said, this stuff is amazing. I find 1 out of every 10 local bands here in my local area that's like, all right, I'd love to go see you. I'm like, you haven't sent me anything bad yet. It's like going to a restaurant and ordering 4 things off the row in the menu, and not one of them is bad to eat. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. And that was like my first initial thought when I first saw these guys play. Because when I first saw you guys play, I can't remember when it was, but it was like my uncle actually was at the show with me, and we were a little bit tipsy, to be honest. Okay, very, very drunk, but still, we saw the thing.
Red Horse.
And then like I saw you walk up there. I saw Jay and everybody else come up, and then also I'm kind of like, okay, this is gonna be freaking cool. This is gonna be freaking cool. And then all of a sudden, like, it's dead silence for a second, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? You guys start going, and I was like, oh shit! Right, and you guys started just the booms, the sound. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And we're like right up in the front row watching this. And I'm just like, oh my God, what is this? And it was and that was like I'd only been maybe in the Philippines 6 months at that point. You know what I mean? And then to see that, I was like, yes, there is hope. There is hope. Thank God, there is hope. You know what I mean? But you know, obviously, I miss a lot of those bars. You know, like 1002, Center for the Arts. You know, all those things, and that's. I mean, is there a certain place that you remember playing in that you loved so much?
Well, the classic Mayrix. We had Mayrix back then, Headstock, and Purple Haze. There was quite a lot back then.
Purple Haze, that's a famous one that's all over YouTube in the Philippines down there.
Yeah. And they're not
That's
around.
yeah. That's and of course, Dan. I remember that I remember
And
you loved Prince at one point. Remember?
I love Prince. I got a Prince picture right above my head.
Prince. Yep.
Prince fan.
Oh yeah. And it's like, 'cause I remember you were like the purple, you had like the purple guitars and stuff like that. You loved all that stuff because the
I
Prince
also
thing.
have, yeah,
Uh huh. The Prince
huge
logo.
Prince fan.
Yep. But yes, so it's been, it's always been, I don't know, it's just like the Philippine, like I said, the Filipino scene has just always been something that I tell people is the force to be reckoned with. And if you were to speak to some of the international bands that have come through, bands like Dying Fetus, bands like, Hatebreed,
Lamb
and
of
all that
God.
stuff, and Lamb of God, they have nothing but just praises. Like, honestly. I spoke with John Denias one time from Shadows Fall, right? I had him on my Facebook at one point, and I don't want to get sued. Sorry, but anyway, it was he mentioned he was just totally he loved it. He just basically was talking about like how everybody's so accommodating, everybody loved the music, everything was just so great, and that's what the whole thing is about. You know what I mean? And I think that, of course, with bands like, of course, you guys like Descant Gott with like freaking like Natal Cleft from Cebu, and you got of course you had Bane way before. Brad's in Canada now, and you had all these different ones, and I think that's what's drawing a lot of people in. You guys are part of that, bringing people in there, and so it's always been one of those things. I think in a lot of ways, we'd like to thank you guys for actually keeping that alive and for staying for staying as long as you guys have, and I feel like you guys will probably have some more longevity. I mean, do you see like a future with Descant God? Do you ever want it to stop or anything like that?
a bit open-ended. Because, you don't, there's uncertainties, of course, but, as long as there's fire, we just keep on doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Favor
Always
the
that
ancient.
passion.
Yeah.
There you go. Good. Yeah. So that's, I mean, as long, yeah, I agree. As long as you have that passion for it, you know what I mean. It's always going to still be there. You know what I mean. I mean, you never know. You guys could end up being like an acoustic group in like like in a coffee shop somewhere down there. That'd be pretty cool to see that. Here you do the like doing all that with the acoustic guitars behind it. I think that'd be pretty sick.
There is something definitely to be said about bands touring in the Philippines. I've watched hundreds of interviews from bands playing over in the Philippines, Pulp SummerSlam and other shows, and they said these are some of the craziest crowds we've ever seen. And now normally American bands that play over in Europe, in the London area and stuff, they say, oh, these are the wildest crowds we've ever seen. But when they compare it to being in the Philippines and playing shows, they're like, this is the biggest turnout we had. The fans were rabid. We couldn't sell tickets fast enough. We could have printed more. People were climbing over the gates to get in. And it was just an amazing atmosphere, a loving atmosphere, a passionate atmosphere. Everybody was there. Everybody knew word for word. People were singing the guitar solos and the riffs. And I can't honestly think of any other country, maybe Europe, that I've heard that response or comparison to.
That was and excuse me. That's I'm sure she knows this too. It's kind of like how at the underground, the gigs and stuff like that, everybody seems to be pretty, tight with each other in a lot of ways. I never once saw any kind of animosity really. I mean, unless I was really kind of just blind to it. But it was you know, but it was like I never really saw any kind of animosity or other people really trying to take each other down. It was more like, hey, dude, come have a beer with us. You know what I mean? It was like, come on, dude,
We'll have a red horse.
Yeah, they're like, come on, 6 set, dude, come on, have a step, you know, have a beer with us or something, man. It was always really cool like that. You know what I mean? But it was, you know, and also with with the way these bars are, Dan, they're what we would call dive bars a lot of the time. But the thing is, those are very, very intimate settings, and it's very like there's nothing like it when you see it. You know what I mean? There's nothing like it when you see it, no matter how big you guys are. And you know, which gives me to the next question on this, you know, for sure. I mean, have you ever been like injured at any of the shows? Like somebody actually actively bumping into you or like, getting way too into it, you know what I mean?
Fortunately, I haven't, and I don't like. I don't like
Yeah.
to.
Never,
Okay. So,
Yeah, but-
never any whiplash?
so now I have a question. Speaking, I'm going to piggyback off of Colin here. What is the worst experience you ever had performing at a gig? What is the story of that one night where everything seems to go wrong and it steamrolls and builds? Your microphone not working, a guitar being out of tune, arriving late. What was that one gig that just drove you nuts and you were just like, you know, that's life and you just got to laugh? What was the one gig?
Well, it's not super wild, but I guess it's more of a funny story. Because and I don't want to name drop, okay? Because next band after us, their style is like they're really weird. Like they lick the microphone and do something stuff with the microphone stand, and we were like after them. So I was like, when I held the mic, I was like, well, someone offered me like, does anybody have an alcohol over here so that she can wipe off the microphone? Because you know it was been licked by the previous singer, and I was like, okay, well, you know. And then someone, you know, gave me the alcohol, so I wiped off the saliva out of it. And, you know, just continued with my thing and just make sure that I don't touch the mic. I'm on the top of the mic.
They gave it the mayhem treatment. What was the singer after Dead? They used to do the microphone thing.
Yeah, they,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and they century stuff. And so it's like
That would be so weird. I'm like, no, come on. I'm gonna need the wet wipe.
that's it, you know. I was like, next time we play together, can you like not put us after them?
Bring your own microphone.
Yep. That was why. Oh god. No, but that was. Was this a few years ago? This show?
I think that was just early this year or last year.
Oh my god! What band would be licking the microphone? But that's crazy.
We can't name drop.
I mean, but I'm gonna say they're cool. I mean, it's their style. But I was just like, yeah, if you know that we're the next band after you, just please don't lick the mic.
Oh my god! Oh man, that's because I've seen some people do some pretty crazy things with that. They're like holding it like this, or they're doing like all kinds of weird things. I'm kind of like, oh
Yeah.
lord.
So I'll bring my own mic now.
Yeah.
Make
Mhm.
sure.
The funniest thing I ever seen at a local show, it was a national show, but local bands opening up. They have power strips. They're the power conditioned Shure strips in front of the stage for people to plug their pedal boards and stuff into. I watched a band do, I'm not going to say the name, I'm sure they'll hear this and be like, yeah, he's talking about us. But when their set was over, they stole the power strips. There are like $100 power strips that were set in front of the stage. And I'm not even going to name the venue because that's going to even make it more of a dead ringer. But it was the strips that were sitting on stage where they could plug their pedal boards and accessories into. And they stole them and put it with their gear and walked out the door. And I watched it happen right in front of me. And the woman was like, what are you shaking your head for? Because she knows I'm super nerdy. She was waiting for me to point out a pedal or something. I'm like, they just stole the $150 Shure power strips.
Oh no. And of course, I'm
Welcome
sure
to
the
Detroit.
well, yeah. You should have mentioned it was Detroit, Dan. Come on now. Should have definitely mentioned that was Detroit. Oh Lord, there were Detroit. God. And of course, you got to remember though. I mean, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but of course, you got to remember like all the bullet holes in the side of Harpo's.
Oh my God! Don't say that. Yes.
I mean, well, I'm not sure if you ever heard of Harpo's before in Detroit. So it's it's a very, very famous venue wide, but the area that it's in, a lot of bands that I've seen or have seen podcasts for and everything like that, have all mentioned that it's not exactly the safest area. James Hart from 18 Visions mentioned when 18 Visions played in Detroit, he was a little bit hungry, so he walked down the street to go to KFC. When he walks in, the whole place is like the whole like front counter is filled with like bulletproof glass, and they had to give him his chicken in on a turnstile. And he said he's walking back to the venue like, what the fuck is going on? It was like, it was so crazy. It's pretty much, and I've experienced that over there too, seeing Slipknot and everything like that. And you see the bullet holes in the side of the wall. People driving down the sidewalk trying to get to the liquor store and all that stuff. It was really interesting.
Harpo's. I can't say that. Harpo's was the only place that if you weren't of age, you could probably manage to get a beer on the inside when I was in high school.
Always, dude.
They're under new ownership, disclaimer.
Yeah, of course. Man. So if you guys ever play in the States, Harpo's, good beer. But it's like, just don't use the bathroom. It's probably gonna flood all over the place.
Absolutely not. Never use the bathrooms at Harpo's.
Oh God, no, man! You pretty much have to swim out of there at that point. I mean, good God.
I will say a lot of the positives to Harpo's. It sounds like with the Philippines is that it's an intimate setting. The buses got to park right next to the venue, so the bands are really accessible to the fans, even though it's a horrible neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It is very accessible. I got to meet Sheldon the Bodum out back and hang out with them. God rest his soul, Lexi Leo. I got to share some whiskey with him, and he autographed about 4 or 5 pictures for me and hung out. But it is a very intimate venue, and there's not a lot of those around anymore. That's why I want to make a trek to the Philippines, but it sounds like that scene is starting to shrink as far as being able to play shows in the venues. So that's a bummer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And, oh, gosh. Well, actually, one thing, Loubelle. So, whenever, of course, gigs, obviously, there's people that are probably going to be like, oh, they want to meet you again and everything like that. I mean, do you enjoy talking with, like, the fans and stuff like that? Or, I mean, has there ever been anybody that you've met after a show that you're kind of like, oh, God, please get away from me?
Not the mic licker.
The kind of person. Yeah, I do experience a bit of a stalker type of people. But majority are okay. No phobias.
Right on. Yeah, and I've noticed...
Dudes, stop being creeps.
Yeah. I remember there was this one dude that I had to ask my friend to pretend that he was my boyfriend at that time.
Oh God. That bad?
Yeah. But everything's again.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was... because I mean, most of the time I've seen...
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have good friends around me. So if they felt like there's a creep around me, they do protect me. Like they stay close to me.
That was actually the same thing too. Like whenever I would see you or like Pat from like Thanatopsy or like anybody else that was like any of the female front women or bass players or whatever, I would automatically like get the kind of like big brother instinct in people, and kind of like okay, kind of looking around to make sure that nobody's messing with any of you. And then would pounce immediately if somebody did. I can't say that I was the only one that did that. I think a lot of people were, like very vigilant because these are females. You know, we got to make sure that they're safe at these places. You know what I mean? So that's what we always. I think every one of us always did that. Try to keep an eye on you. Try to keep an eye on everybody else to make sure you guys are good. You know, try to make sure you guys are comfortable. You know what I mean? That was always, I think, what was one of the things too. And I've noticed that a lot of the time with the venues out there, a lot of the shows, generally most of the time the dudes are very, very respectful of all of that. I haven't seen really any big fights or anything like that happen, unless of course it was like maybe some like infighting between band members or something like that, which has happened to me before. But but that's just like,
I'd be fighting too if you looked at Mike's stand and I was your guitar player. All right, I'll stop.
Of course. But no, it's it's really cool that you came on here to talk with us, Loubelle. We really enjoyed talking to you for sure, definitely. And it's like, honestly, when I hit you up there, I'm like, hope she does it, man. I hope she doesn't tell us to fuck off or something like that. You know what I mean? It was just like really like. It was really, really cool. It's like an honor. It's like an honor to have you on here. It's really cool because I myself consider you to be like a legend in the scene. Like legendary in the scene. So it's kind of like, so to me, I'm kind of like, man, we have a legend on our show right now. We have an actual legend in the Filipino metal scene on our show right now. This is like, this is like freaking iconic. This is cool. You know what I mean? And again, we thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you.
Thank you too. I appreciate you guys. I mean, this is really special for me.
Oh, well, yeah, and we're glad we're able to help you out with that. I mean, you're more than welcome to come on anytime, everything like that. Kind of give us, kind of keep us updated on things and everything like that. And, with all of that, we just already, I think we'll be able to close this out right now for sure. And again, remember to anybody out there who's listening, remember, Descant Gott, they fucking rule. Come on, what else can we say? You know what I mean? Loubelle is obviously, you can see, is like a freaking legend. You know what I mean? Always support her, support the band, support the Filipino metal scene. Just support music in general. And remember, no matter what happens, music is always there. All right? That's the one thing that never cheats on you. It's never going to actually go, do anything else to you. If it's anything else you need, anything else if you're thinking about taking your life or anything like that, turn to music. This will do it. Guaranteed you'll still be here. You know what I mean? And with all that saying, of course, Entering the Darkness, you'll be able to see us here on YouTube. You'll be able to see us anywhere else here, and hopefully on some streaming platforms soon. And of course, with all of that, again, Loubelle, thank you so much here. And again, remember to like and subscribe this page. And, we love you guys. Peace.